We've seen Saurav Ganguly in many different avatars when it comes to cricket. Started off as a cricket player, then the captain of the Indian national team, going on then to become a team owner when it came to the ISL. After a football team owner, became a cricket administrator, whether it was at a state level or then at a national level when he went on to become the BCCI president. And in between there, he was also a cricket coach of sort. Even though that wasn't his designation, that happened in 2019 when he was associated with an IPL team. And now it's a sort of a return of Saurav Ganguly to that same IPL team. What has happened now, the latest bit of news is that the former BCCI chief, Saurav Ganguly, he is joining as the head of cricket operations for an IPL team, and that happens to be Delhi Capitals. Now, why do I say that it's a return, and what is he going to be doing exactly in this capacity? That is what we'll dwell into. But first, why do I say it's a return? Because in March of 2019, this picture of Saurav Ganguly, at that time mentor of Delhi Capitals, he was appointed, and this is another man who needs no introduction, and Ricky Ponting, who was the head coach. So they were unveiled as the new sort of team that would take the Delhi franchise forward. This happened after GMR were the owners of the Delhi franchise for the longest time, and then you had the JSW group join in as a 50% partner. So once JSW came in, they got a new set of team of Ricky Ponting and Saurav Ganguly to take that franchise forward. So this is from March 2019. I would know because I was there at that launch interviewing the two gentlemen that were unveiled. And just to let you know what is exactly that Saurav Ganguly said at the time that he was appointed a mentor. Remember, he was not the coach, he was a mentor. But let me tell you, having covered the IPL that season, he did play a very crucial role in terms of strategizing, tactics, team selection, all of it as a mentor alongside the head coach in Ricky Ponting. What did Ganguly say at the time? He had said, having known the Jindals and the JSW group, Jindals of course the owners of JSW, and the JSW group for years, I am now excited to be a part of their latest sports venture. I'm really looking forward to working with the players and the support staff. So one thing that he made amply clear at the time, that he had a long-standing relationship with the JSW group and the family that owned that company, that was the Jindals. And why is that important? I'll dwell on that as we go forward. Now, as soon as he was appointed the mentor of the Delhi franchise, three cricket fans from Bengal, they wrote to the BCCI highlighting that, listen, Ganguly now has a conflict of interest because he is a CAB president, Cricket Association of Bengal president, and how can he be an administrator and also then be an advisor to Delhi Capitals? And this, in their eyes, was conflict of interest. They wrote to the BCCI, the ethics officer then obviously had a look at it, and then Saurav Ganguly was asked to reply to those charges. What did Saurav Ganguly say at the time? Before that, it wasn't just those three fans, there were also murmurs in the BCCI corridors. His detractors in the BCCI also allege at the time that he as CAB president will have a control on local curator with no neutral curator being used in that IPL. So effectively what they were saying that, listen, he's the president, he can get the pitch the way he wants, and when Delhi team comes and plays Kolkata, then Delhi might get an advantage because he's there. And the earlier charge was that, if he's an administrator and he has to look after the interest of the players of his state, could he push them into an IPL franchise? Various sorts of allegations were made. And then, as I said, the ethics officer then asked Saurav Ganguly to come up with a reply, and this is how Saurav Ganguly responded to the charges. He says, in my respectful submission, there is no direct or indirect interest, compromising roles, commercial conflict, prior relationship or position of influence within the meaning of the BCCI constitution which may deter my involvement with the Delhi Capital. So effectively said that there's nothing there in the constitution which suggests that I cannot be, whilst I am also heading a state body, I cannot be contributing to an IPL team. He further went on to say that, listen, he has no relationship with the Kolkata Knight Riders or anything, and there is no way that the two things or the two tasks that he's performing are overlapping. So this is what he had said at the time. Now, things took an interesting turn In 2019, Ganguly became the BCCI president, and at that time, because he had become the BCCI president, and that would have been a direct conflict of interest, he stepped down from his role at Delhi Capital. So he relinquished that position after a lot of articles were written in the media, and a lot of people raised eyebrows over him being also attached to an IPL franchise, but he preempted that and stepped down from that position. But then, you know what happened? It was during one of the games, and it happened inadvertently. The Delhi Capitals captain at the time, Shreyas Iyer, during a post-match interview said, and that created a huge storm, he said, "I have learned to take some responsibility with the likes of Ponting and Ganguly. It makes my task a bit easier." So he was talking about managing the team, but then at the post-match press conference, he said something which then again people pointed out that, listen, if Ganguly has stepped down, is he also behind the scenes helping the Delhi franchise, even though he's a BCCI president? Because that's what Shreyas Iyer has said it. Maybe, you know, he didn't realize what he was saying and he said it. And now that has made it very obvious that there is some sort of an involvement of Sourav Ganguly, though on paper he may have stepped down, but is still actively contributing to the Delhi Capitals in a position of a mentor or what have you. So this is what he said. But then Shreyas Iyer was quickly after it, as I said, created a storm on social media, in mainstream media. A lot of people were talking about it. Shreyas Iyer quickly responded. He said, listen, as a young captain, I'm thankful to Ricky and Dada for being part of my journey as a cricketer and captain last season. So he said, I wasn't talking about 2020, I was talking about 2019, all the guidance they gave me. My comment yesterday was to emphasize my gratitude towards the role they both have played in my personal growth as captain. So he said, maybe, you know, it's been taken in the wrong context. I was actually talking about the 2019 season and not 2020 season. Though, I mean, you know, it left a lot to be desired as far as the explanation was concerned. Because if you really take a closer look at the statement that Shreyas makes at the time and this, I mean, there are discrepancies there. It does seem that he's talking about the 2020 season and not so much the previous season, 2019. But after he gave his statement, then that was taken at face value, and then that's where the matter was buried. Okay, then again, interestingly, what happens after that? Sourav Ganguly, while he's the BCCI president, is made brand ambassador of JSW Cement alongside Indian football captain Sunil Chhetri. Interestingly, Sunil Chhetri also plays for a franchise in the ISL that is owned by the JSW group. So they chose him and Sourav Ganguly as their brand ambassador. And as soon as that happened, you of course knew that the group, that is JSW group, and Sourav Ganguly shared a close relationship. As soon as that happened, you know, there were again charges of conflict of interest. And this is how Sourav Ganguly at the time responded to that. He says, how do I influence anything if I'm the BCCI president? I am not the brand ambassador of JSW Sports. So the conflict of interest charges were essentially that, listen, you know, if you're the BCCI president and you're associated with a firm like JSW and as their brand ambassador, then you can favor them because they also own an IPL team. But he said, but I am not the brand ambassador of JSW Sports. So JSW Sports is the entity that actually owns Delhi Capital. He says, I don't think the cement company is a sponsor of the Delhi Capitals. So the cement company, that is JSW Cement, is also not sponsor of Delhi Capitals. Of course, they do have the same owners. I don't see any conflict in it. I'm not associated with their cricket. Had I been, it would have been a conflict. So he's clearly saying that, listen, I'm just purely there as a brand ambassador and endorsing their cement company, not their sports company, and I have nothing to do with the franchise. So this was his explanation at the time. But, you know, talking about the relationship that JSW and Sourav Ganguly share, as I said, Sourav Ganguly admitted himself when he was appointed that, listen, he's known them for years. He's known the family for many years. This is another controversy that happened. And this was, you know, during the entire Virat Kohli, Sourav Ganguly fiasco, as you would remember, you know, there was a war of words where Sourav Ganguly had said that, listen, we had asked Virat not to step down as captain. Virat said no such conversation was happened. So it was his word against Sourav Ganguly's word. And the entire cricketing universe was divided, some taking the side of Virat Kohli, some standing by Sourav Ganguly. At the time, Parth Jindal, who also runs JSW Sport, said Dada's credibility is undeniable, and for anyone saying anything against Sourav Ganguly needs to understand what Dada has done for Indian cricket and that he would never compromise Indian cricket for anything ever. Hope that this gets resolved as right now the only loser is Indian cricket. So at the time also Park Jindal, the member of the Jindal family, also the owners of JSW Cement and the Delhi Capitals, part owners of Delhi Capitals, he had come out and supported Sourav Ganguly in a personal capacity, clearly also underlining the kind of relationship or the bond that the JSW family and Sourav Ganguly share. So then it comes as no surprise that now he's no more an administrator, no more a BCCI president. He's come back now. Earlier, remember, he was a mentor. Now he's head of cricket operations, and this time he's not only going to be looking at the IPL franchise, that is Delhi Capital. They've also got Pretoria Capitals in the South Africa League. They've also got Dubai Capitals, another franchise. So they have franchises participating in this franchise model cricket all across the globe. So Sourav Ganguly is going to look at all the cricket operations. So he's going to be heading that, in his capacity, maybe actively involved in player selection, captain selection, even selections of coaches and all other cricketing decisions. So, as they say, all's well that ends well. Hope you enjoyed the video. For more such video, don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today.